All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing this morning? It's Monday morning. It's time for Mornings with Mike. I was on we'll call it a little hiatus there. I was on a hospital hiatus, if you will. So I appreciate you guys taking time to join me this morning. I do this each Monday morning when I'm not visiting a medical facility. So each Monday morning, 7 a.m., I would love for you to jump in here and join me. And I try and keep it really simple, 5, maybe 10 minutes. Talk about a verse or two and kind of how it's speaking to me in the moment. And then hopefully that helps to set the tone for your day and get things rolling for you. So this morning, the reason I picked Psalm 40, verses 1 and 2, interestingly, that this was literally the day that I got sick. And so it's one of those things that's kind of speaking to me. It says, when you're in trouble, turn to God, right? That's the message that was coming out of it. And in this book here, Leadership Promises for Every Day, it's a daily devotional by John Maxwell. It focuses on leadership. I'm going to read this to you right now. First, I'll read the psalm and we'll get going. As you saw on the screen at the beginning, if you're interested in joining me each Monday or seeing some other scriptures that I've shared, I would love for you to join me on my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/faith and fire. And like I said, that's how we do it. It's 5 minutes and dive in. So Psalm 40 verses 1 and 2 says, I waited patiently for the Lord to help me. And he turned to me and heard me cry. He lifted me out of the pit of despair, out of the mud and the mire. He set my feet on solid ground and steadied me as I walked along. So as we go into this verse, it's David, and he's recalling that he waited patiently for the Lord to answer his urgent prayer, right? So King David knew something about suffering, particularly suffering caused by his own actions. But he also knew whom he could turn during these times of trouble. See, we need to remember that any time, it doesn't matter how bleak things may look. And again, not to dwell on just what's happened to me in the last couple months. Again, I spent roughly 3.5 weeks in a hospital, hooked up to machines and so forth. And it was such a reminder. It was such a reminder. And that's why it's speaking to me, because again, this is from August 16th. This is the first day that I started not feeling well. And I remember starting to read it and thinking, okay, so slow down, turn to God, focus on him, and he'll see me through this. Regardless of how bad it ever got or how bad I thought it was going to get, right? Many of you that are connected to me on social channels saw it. Things got crazy, right? And so we always have to remember that no matter what happens to us in our life, slow down, look to him, right? That's the first reminder. Turn to him. He'll hear your cries, right? And so I'll read through this. What a great comfort and joy comes to us when we understand that God is rich in grace and mercy, that he not only forgives, but he restores and redeems. The Lord lifts us up from our personal pits of despair and puts us in right standing with him. So there's a different sort of view as well, right? So when we're not in physical peril, when we're in mental peril, which sometimes creates our mental, or excuse me, sometimes creates our physical peril, sometimes creates our own despair. When we're in that pit of life, turn to him. So this was the reminder to me that it's like every time is when you turn to him. When I need him to help lift me up in healing and in health and growth. When I need him to lift me up in grace and mercy. Every time it's okay to turn to God. It's not even okay, it's necessary, right? When times of trouble arrive, even trouble we bring on ourselves, we must turn to God and wait patiently for his help. He'll never fail us. Remember these truths about God you serve, then proclaim to them everyone who will hear. So we start out and we say, okay, look, hey, I'm in trouble. And one of the keys, I do have a few notes because I got to keep myself on track here. One of the keys when it's talking about, I waited patiently for the Lord to help me and he turned to me to hear me cry, that first verse. When David is talking about in the verse, one of the keys the original Hebrew construction of the word uses the same root word twice with two sort of different tenses. It's like, I was waiting to wait, right? I waited and I waited and I waited. I waited to wait. That indicates that there is, by David here, there is perseverance in his prayer. He continues. There's urgency. He keeps going. The second verse then, when we get in here, and it says, he lifted me out of the pit of despair, out of the mud and the mire. He set my feet on solid ground. That the key here, and again, Hebrew root of the word talks about turning or bending. And so that's sort of a poetic image that's being drawn for us, because God is actually leaning forward into him. He's bending forward to hear his prayer. And so it's just like when you have a person, or if you have kids, right? You have a little child that kind of speaks quietly, and you have to lean forward to hear what it is that they have to say. You have to lean into them to understand what is necessary to hear what it is that they need. And so that's what God is doing for David here. That's what God does for us. When we speak that urgent prayer, that thing that is so necessary, whether it comes to that physical ailment, whether it comes to our mental anguish, whether it comes to our own pits that we've created ourselves, make sure that you turn to God, because when you do, he'll lean into you so that he can hear. So that, my friends, is the message for this morning. I thank you so much for taking the time and spending your time with me and joining me on Mornings with Mike. Good morning. I'll throw some shout outs here because I see people walking through. Edgar, it's good. It's great to see you, man. Thank you for the prayers and hanging out with me, online through my journey recently. Patrick, it's good to see you, bro. Mike, Ashy, fantastic to see you. James Steele, I know we've had other people go through here. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate the prayers through my recent, hardship and journey. And again, there's a whole shift in perspective. And one of the things that I can tell you is when we slow down and we pray and we turn to God, like I said, he's going to lean into us. He's going to give us, he's going to give us his ear. He's going to offer that healing. He's going to offer a hand to lift us up and out. So I thank you again so much, everybody. We will, I'll see you back here next Monday morning, 7 a.m. I may do it a little bit before that. I may start a few minutes before that. So I would love for you guys and gals to tune in with me. Again, that's youtube.com/faith and fire. And with that, everybody, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic start to your week. I hope you have a fantastic Monday, and God bless you all. I appreciate you very much. Do me a favor, share this with somebody that may need to hear it today. And it may be you. Send a message to yourself that says, hey, I got to watch this again. We'll talk to you soon, everyone.